Hey, this is Lon with Single Track Skills. I'm at Ride Birmingham, and I'm by no means an expert of hitting science into Bertha, but I have learned a lot of things from all my attempts, and I thought I would share those with those who are interested in doing that. So if you haven't watched my video on how to ride science, watch that first, because that's kind of obviously a prerequisite to linking the two together. But if you already have that video and you've watched it, then what I'm going to do to link the two together is I'm simply not going to hit my brakes. So I can roll into science as slowly as I want without that front wheel wobbling, because if I roll in with it wobbling, it's too slow. So I'm just going to take it past that wobble, choose my line, which I talk about in that video on science itself, and then I'm simply going to roll science and not touch the brakes. If you touch the brakes at all, even the rear brake, even just a little bit, you most likely will not have the speed that you need to jump and clear Bertha. So number one, don't touch the brakes at all. If you touch the brakes at any point in time, abort, don't hit Bertha. If you don't touch the brakes, it's the perfect amount of speed, at least for me and my body weight. I'm over 200 pounds. I'm probably 210, 220 with my gear on. I'm on a heavy e-bike, 50-pound e-bike. So if you're lighter than that, I can't quite tell you exactly the right speed. You may have to pump more. I think my buddy Daniel Hagen actually got a pedal stroke in at the bottom, which is tricky because you don't want to get a pedal strike because you can crash. But for me and my body weight, every time I've ever done it, which I'm thinking it's probably about 10 times now, as long as you don't touch the brakes, you're going to be fine. If you case it, you're just going to case it just a little bit. All right. But with that speed, it's just the right amount of speed to where, if you're going a little bit too slow, you can lift that rear wheel up at the very last second and not case. Now, I will say, one day I was out here and the wind was really strong and it was blowing from the back, and I actually overshot it quite a ways because of the wind. So even with a heavy bike, that wind can be dangerous. If the wind was blowing from the side, I would not hit science, because I'm not science. Science isn't the problem, but Bertha. Because if the wind is blowing from the side, even with a heavy bike, it can blow your wheels out from underneath you. And I would not take the risk on that. It doesn't take much wind at all to blow those wheels side to side. Now we're gonna go to the bottom, and I'm gonna give you some tips of things that help me for entering Bertha, how to enter it for the best and safest jump. So let's get that done. All right, so I'm at the bottom of science right now, and if you watched my first video on how to ride that, you're going to be centering up right in the middle of the transition there. And then what you want to do is you want to start swinging kind of wide here, give it a little bit of a pump on this. But the main thing is to make sure that you have your feet connected to the pedals. This is one example where clipless pedals are actually safer, because sometimes when I come through here on flats, even though my feet are active, they start to get kind of light through here because you're going so fast and your feet can kind of get light on the pedals. So if you're not clipped in, you need to make sure your feet are super active. Here's the thing I do. I don't like to jump to my left. I prefer to jump to my right. So this is kind of my bad side. What helps me with this, even though it's my bad side, is I start kind of setting up wide over here. I don't get crazy and get way out here into this loose stuff, but I just start setting up as wide as possible without getting crazy. And then what I do is I aim for the very tip of the left part of the jump. You can see where everyone's jumping at the main path, but I actually look at the left of the left side of the, that tip on the left, and that actually sets me up to jump it more straight. Now, if I were better, I could come off and more in the middle and then kind of hip it to the left. But since I'm not, I try to treat the jump a little bit straight. The one time that I almost had a problem with it, the actual jump was perfect. It was fine. It's just that I was angling more to the right, and I landed on the top, and then I headed off the backside I was fine, it didn't crash, but it was really scary because I could have hit somebody on the backside, basically treated it like a lily pad. So you definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, hit me up in the comments if you have any questions and I'll try to answer it.